Hey, how's it going, my friends? Welcome back to the Nerd Life. If you're new here, my name is Joshua, and my channel is all about retro gaming, different unboxings, and talking about the things that I love and that I'm nostalgic for. So if you're into any of that, then subscribe to my channel. But in today's video, I'm going to be talking about the 5 games that made me a gamer. Now, I was inspired to do this video by watching 3 other videos on this topic by 3 different channels. Poor Man's Retro Game Room, Retro Rivals, and Square Pegs. And I will be tagging all 3 of them in the description below, and I highly recommend you check out their channel because they have great content all about gaming. But this first game that I want to talk about is one that introduced me to video games as a whole, and that is Space Invaders for the Atari 2600. Now, I remember being 5 years old and going to my aunt and uncle's house and seeing my uncle and my cousin sitting on their couch playing with this controller in their hand, moving a joystick, pressing a button. I remember looking at the screen and seeing this little ship at the bottom moving back and forth and shooting these enemies at the top. And I was so amazed by what I was seeing because this is the first video game that I ever saw, which is why I described it the way that I just did, because I've never seen anything like this. And this was 1989. The NES was already out, but yeah, this was my first video game I ever saw, and I just remember being so amazed by what I was seeing. And I guess my uncle saw the look on my face, so because he was like, "Do you want to play?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he handed me the controller, and I did the same thing he was doing. I moved the joystick, pressed the button. I was shooting enemies, moving back and forth, just having so much fun. And me and my cousin and uncle took turns playing for a long time, and just it was such a great time. So Space Invaders definitely sparked my interest in video games. And this next game just made my love for video games even bigger. And this was 2 years later. I was 7 years old. Me and my family, we went to a different aunt and uncle's house, and my aunt was sitting in her chair playing Super Mario Brothers 3. Now, I remember sitting down and watching her play this, and just with a big smile on my face, I asked her if I could play, and she said yes. And she reset the console and put it on 2 players, and me and her just took turns playing for about an hour or so. I think we got to like halfway through the second world before we stopped, but yeah, it was just such a great time, having so much fun. And I remember after that going, whenever I would go back to her house, I would just play either with her or by myself. Either way, I just had a lot of fun with Super Mario Brothers 3. It was definitely a game that made me love video games even more, and I'm glad to have been introduced to it. Now, this next game that I want to talk about is one that I actually have in my collection, and also sparked my love for fighting games as a whole, and that is Super Street Fighter 2. Now, the first time I ever rented and played this game, I remember playing with my dad. Me and him playing, fighting each other. Sometimes I would beat him, other times he would kick my ass. But yeah, he just like every other fighting game player, he discovered the character that he was good with, and that's who he would pick every single time. And I think I had 3 different characters that I would choose from. His character was always Fei Long. That's the one that he got good with, so he stuck with that. I either chose Ryu, Blanca, or Ken, and those were my characters. And of course, Ryu is my favorite. I think that's basically the common answer that everybody says. You ask who their favorite Street Fighter character is, they're going to most likely say Ryu. And that's for a reason. I mean, Ryu and Ken are the most popular characters. They have 3 of the biggest special moves in the whole series. The Hadouken, Shoryuken, and what I call the spinny kick special, because I can't pronounce the actual name for the move. But yeah, me and my dad used to play that game so much together. I would play through arcade mode by myself from time to time as well. But I had more fun when I would play it with my dad or with my mom or my sister. But Super Street Fighter 2 is an awesome game, and it made me the fighting game lover that I am today. Why was that so difficult? Anywho, the next game I'm going to be talking about is Super Mario 64. Now this game got me through a really tough time in my life. I was 13 years old when I got Super Mario 64 for the first time. I was being bullied a lot in school by half my classmates, so I would just come home from school and spend 2 or 3 hours playing Super Mario 64, going through the different levels, getting stars, just having so much fun and escaping from reality. Now, before I ever played this game, I didn't really see video games as an escape. I saw it more as just a fun time. And then around this time, this game came into my life. Like I said, I was going through a really tough time, so this was a big escape for me. And I'm glad to have had this game back then, because I don't know, my life probably would have been a little bit tougher without this game right here. And this, yeah, just had so much fun. If not just running around the castle outside doing long jumps, triple jumps, swimming around. Yeah, I was that person that did that. Or just playing through the levels, getting the different stars. Just had so much fun with this game, and I would play it for hours on end. But yeah, and the final game that I want to talk about, another game that changed my life. Christmas of '97, I got my very first Super Nintendo, and this was the pack-in game. Super Mario World 2, Yoshi's Island. Now, I've talked about this game in other videos, but I don't care. I love this game so much. It's one of my favorite Super Nintendo games of all time. The graphics, the Crayola art style, the music, the boss fights, everything about it I love. And yes, I know the crying baby Mario is freaking annoying as hell, but that actually forced me to become better and not get hit so much, so I didn't have to listen to that. But I loved it so much that I pushed through all that anyways, and I kept on and kept on with it until I actually was able to beat the game a few months later. And before playing this game, usually whenever I'd go to a friend's house or just play games, I would just play for fun. I didn't really have the drive to actually beat a game until I played through and beat Yoshi's Island. Then that got me wanting to do that with other games, and that's when I started to not give up on other games like Final Fight. There were what was it? Super R-Type was the shoot 'em up. It was difficult as hell, but I kept on playing it. Castlevania 4 was another game. Like, this game not only made me a better gamer, it defined me as a gamer altogether, and that's why it is the #1 game that I'm talking about today, and one of my favorite Super Nintendo games of all time. And so yeah, but that'll do it for this video. Thanks so much for watching, and let me know in the comment section what your 5 games are that made you a gamer. Or if you have a YouTube channel and want to do a video on this topic, please do. I would love to see that. But anyways, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to my channel, and I hope y'all have an awesome day. Until next time, take care.